All right, everyone. Thank you both for being here. Today we're going to be diving into the artistic part of the BTCFi Believers campaign. We're very excited in general about this campaign. And today here we have Shiva and Marta. So I guess I'll start with Marta. How are you, Marta? Are you doing good?
Hi, I'm fine. You?
I'm doing awesome as well. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about yourself and like your background for context?
So I'm an artist and graphic designer living in Switzerland, coming from Poland, and a mom of 3 kids.
Nice, nice. And Shiva, how are you doing today? How was your week?
Week has been pretty hectic, but yeah, pretty good as we getting up for this Believers launch. I see a lot of energy and excitement from the community, a lot of good content, so it always gives extra power to go
Yeah.
forward.
Well, what was your favorite content they have seen this week? Anything specific that kind of got into your mind, or?
Yeah, I mean, thanks to Marta, she has been like providing us the different variations of B, and we finalized finally art and stuff. But that has been going on into the community, and a lot of people taking inspiration and creating their own version derivatives of it, right? So there are a lot of it, but especially this week, I love one, not really art per se, but it's an article about believers, like about the BTCFi, and one of our believers wrote really good article about the whole BTCFi, and he also added the art. So I really loved it.
Nice. Yeah. I think I've also been seeing a lot of content being created around our BTC5 Believer, especially with the whitelist that we have right now. I think people are very excited about the overall NFT and yeah, I think this is gonna be very very cool to see what people come up with next. I guess Marta, do you want to give us a quick overview of your background before we get into the artistic side of the NFT?
Yes, so basically, I'm an architect. I studied architecture and urban design in Poland and in Germany. And I've been working most of my life as an architect, but it was always that artistic side of architecture that interested me the most. So in parallel, I always explored like art, paintings, graphic design. I also worked a lot for nonprofit organizations to help them create their visual identity. So it allowed me to develop also some more digital tools, and now I'm working mainly as a graphic designer.
All right, nice. And do you have any interesting stories about working as an architect that you want to share, or like anything like one of the most important interesting projects?
Strictly in architecture, I think my most interesting project was theater renovation, because I was really collaborating with very different people, like sound specialists, like screen people that work in theater, and very different specialists. And I like that part the most, that you face that very different expectations. And yeah.
Nice, nice.
One fun fact, Martha has sent one really nice art, which we kept it in our hall, in the other room. Yeah, I really loved it. My family loves it.
Yeah. I guess is this your first time working on a specific Web3 project?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Do you? I guess do you have? How do you compare that difference or that experience working on a Web3 project versus working on a architecture, for example, project?
So what excites me the most, I think, and which is like really similar, which is a bit of continuation, is meeting that very different expectations, that very different feedbacks on people, and everyone tells you actually different things, and you need to synthesize. You need to create something simple. The simplest things takes most of the time, actually, because you come through very different process and ideas, and you need to find something in common that will answer all these requirements. And I think this is really a challenge that I love to face.
Nice, nice. And I guess you, for the BTCFi Believers NFT, you also faced that. What was your first reaction when you heard about this project and what we're trying to build? What was your initial reaction, and what went through your mind initially?
So, to be honest, I've never been a big, crypto or Bitcoin enthusiast. In contrary to my husband, for example, who is a big Bitcoin enthusiast, and he always trying to explain me about it and convince me. And to be honest, Believers is really, like, for me, it's the first project that actually convinced me, because I see the idea behind it, I see the culture, and bees in general. I love that motto, because bees, the values that they represent for the community, the teamwork and their consistency. I think it's something really cool, and this way you guys managed to convince me about it.
Nice.
So
And
it's really different.
And I guess just coming back to your past experience, or because like you mentioned, you never been into Web3, you never done Web3 projects. What was your overall thought like about NFTs and how the art representation in NFTs format, for example? I had what's it called, like the NFC conference here in Lisbon last month. In this NFC conference, there's so many artists, so many builders I met, and I feel like it's very different actually, because I meet a lot of people that don't, um, you know, crypto in general is not. They're not a big fan of it, but they love the NFT style and the art format. What is your thought like around the NFTs, and have you ever considered doing one specifically from your side, or is that not something that you would apply to what you're currently doing, for example?
So in fact, last year I really discovered it. It was new for me. So last year I've been really exploring all the existing NFTs, trying to understand how it works, because it was really new for me. And it's true that there are lots of like very famous and nice projects that exist. Some of them you might like or not, and I think it's what identifies like different communities and people, and so there are some NFTs that I like in particular, but I never tried to create something that will pretend to be similar. I always wanted to create something very unique, because I think the best NFT projects are these ones that invent something really new, really unique, that you can't compare to anything that exists yet. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, and I really think it's a very different space, and it's fun to see, because I was never at the NFT related conference, and I thought it was very cool because I met like a lot of artistic people there on the conference in general. And then there's also this part of the which we're gonna talk a little bit as well, which is the physical part of the NFT, because you can get you have the NFT in digital format, but on that conference you could actually buy the physical one. So if you had the NFT, you could get the physical one, and you could buy also the physical one right there. So we will also be talking a little bit about that. But yeah, thank you for your input on that. And how, I guess for this Believers NFT, how did you start creatively? Was it like the shape? Was it the mood? What was the first, I guess, aspect that you started creating that made sense?
Actually, we started to analyze B, because B, it's the main character. But when you start to think about B, there are so many graphic B representations. So that exists already, because it's a common symbol, That's why it was hard to come up with something new, because you've seen lots of things, and by the way, B is not easy to. It's not like a Q animal with cute little face that you can actually draw just like that, but you need to invent something new, to think really out of the box. So we start exploring very, very different things that, if you would look at it, it's nothing to do with what we finally have, but we need to come through all these process to find the right way, the right solution.
Nice. And And I guess talking about, because you mentioned the B part, Shiva, what was the why bees? I guess my question is why bees? Why we choose bees?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, actually, you're also part of this story, right? So if you
Yeah.
remember, so I mean, see, first of all, as Marta actually rightly cap mentioned, we choose these because Bitcoin, we are building a Bitcoin yield product, like Bitcoin yield hub. We wanted that as you see in your background, like the bees coming, bringing the different kind of yield, so that we wanted that kind of representation and the teamwork and the hustle that they go through. And also, yeah, it isn't it, it is as a B Bitcoin has some uh, similar sounding names, but also, yeah, we wanted something easy to say. That's why we come up with build. If you remember, we were talking in while we are driving in Cosmos, and that's how we kind of come up with that. So the idea is basically, how do we represent Bitcoin Yield Hub in a character that we can connect easily. So that was the idea. And of course, from there, that we designed the mascot. We've been using it for almost a year now. And then when we thought about these BTCFi believers, it was very obvious choice that we are. Um, the main objective with this with this believers program, essentially to shift the mind share, where many people believe that Bitcoin is supposed to sit in just cold wallets, but we want to shift that mind share that it doesn't have to. You can you can still get the yield on your Bitcoin without taking any additional risk. Like to make that mind share shift, basically you need to believe in something, that it is possible. And that is how we become, that B character has kind of transformed into this believers with the B, right? um yeah, so that is the genesis of it. And I think the community is loving the name and the background, backstory, lore, and all that stuff.
Yeah, and I think, bees obviously make sense in the context of, being kind of collaborative, like we see here in the image,
Mm.
being working together. And I think Bitcoin actually represents that, even like the proof of work part, where you have to work together. Maybe not, but most of the times you have to work together with other miners, and being able to get that work done and do something, right? So this is what bees actually do as well. So it makes sense for Bitcoin. I think it's probably the one of the, or maybe the only animal that makes sense for Bitcoin in general. But we actually explored many designs, right? And could you tell us a little bit about the other versions that we explored?
Yeah, definitely. Again, like Marta, from the beginning, I mean, she has provided a lot of design. As you said, it's not really easy to get the right, the character that we wanted out of it, because the face is not really, if you zoom in, it's quite scary, actually. I realized when Martha is sending different designs, oh, bees can be that scary, if you really zoom in. So it's very hard to get the right balance. And she provided a lot of designs, but from the beginning she's very insistent that you should not just go for some AI generated, because that's not how you create great art. That's not how you connect with the art, right? Like CryptoPunks, and some of these good examples like Bad Kid, they're not necessarily look like aesthetically like good design, but there is a character behind it, right? So she was very insistent of it, and I appreciate that. So yeah, fast forward with, I don't know how many versions we went through, like Booby, Barbie, and Baby, and
Yeah.
all that stuff. But eventually, and we also experimented few other variations. But I'm quite happy that, like, the one we are finally going with, because it has that character that we wanted, and also that likability, what community loves. So yeah, that's
Yeah,
the
and I think how do you think the design actually carries the believer's vision? Because actually we have mentioned this before, which is you're not minting it just for the art, right? You're minting it because of the mission that we're trying to accomplish. So how does the art affects that? how important it is for the design, or how important this design is for that mission.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we are not NFT project. We are a Bitcoin project. We want to bring the community of believers with, which is a representation of the, into this NFT, right? So, yeah. So, but even then, like, we wanted to have that balance of having a, good art, and also the utility aspect of it and the story behind it. I think it very well came together, all of these three, where now, like, we finalize an art that is, you can resonate with it, you feel personalized, and at the same time it tells the story of the whole Bitcoin and by believers, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Nice. So I guess for Marta, um, actually Shiva mentioned this, which is what's the hardest part about designing a bee that's not cute, but also it's cannot be scary. So how did you find that balance?
I had to come through really lots of different versions, and it just at some point it clicked,
Yeah.
because we came up with some idea, some simple idea, and it makes you, because we talked a lot about emotions. The believers mascot should show lots of different emotions, and at the same time be very simple. So the believer, it can make you feel a bit like emoji. It's very simple. It kind of pops out from different edges. So so yeah, I think sometimes he's cute, sometimes not, because he has very different face expressions, which
Mhm.
was the goal. And yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And yeah, go ahead, Shiva.
No, I think in the end we choose to go with minimalistic approach, but also tells some character. It has you can see and you feel something about this, and it has a character.
Nice. Were there any specific references, or any, I guess, teams
Hmm.
that you leaned into, Marta, for like the design process, um,
Yeah.
from the perspective of maybe from your experience, or did you see something that would, or did you check any Web3 NFTs, or how was that process?
Yes, I've been exploring lots of
Okay.
existing NFTs. So, but I didn't want to be too much
And
influenced by one existing one. So I didn't want to repeat like one idea.
Okay.
But of course, for example, how I don't know, pudgy penguins, or
Mm.
this kind of stuff was very inspiring for me, in terms of showing that emotions and different feelings, because I thought that what really counts in good NFT is showing that feelings, that there's some flow. It has to have some story, and graphically to move something. So I can also imagine our mascot in different animations, because it's very simple, and I think it's good for animations. That's something I think we probably will work on continuously, because yeah, it needs to tell some story, and represent some. It's a cute mascot, and
Yeah.
it has to be.
Um, so you actually mentioned pudgy penguins, and I think pudgy penguins is obviously one of the biggest NFT. But also they have surpassed that NFT. That they're just an NFT, right? They're not just an NFT now. They're a big brand. They're like one of the biggest brands in crypto. They actually released like the plushie. Yeah, so it released like a actual plushie, which is a pudgy penguin. So maybe we'll do that with our NFT. Let's see. I guess another question is, what are the visual elements that were most important to kind of nail, right? So was it the color, the texture, the actual bee itself? Where were that creative process, and what was the most important to you?
So color was simple. It was obvious, because we took the Bitcoin palette and we extended it a bit more. So that was easy part. The most difficult was really find that form which is the most synthesized and which can create that different emotions. I think this was the hardest part, to create really something like really simple, but which answered all that requirements. Because we were counseled by lots of people, and we've heard so many different feedbacks and opinions that at some point we had to come up with something very simple, which answers all that requirement.
And we also have some interesting mythic NFTs, or in this case, kind of limited ones. I guess you also you did some pretty interesting stuff there. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? What was the overall idea for the mythic ones, like the special ones? Did you took from overall stuff that people liked, or what was the idea there?
Yeah, Mythic they are very different. They're based on the same idea as all the Believers, but they are a bit more complicated. They often they refer to some very common cultural symbols.
Yeah,
and that was the idea. So they to be different. But also, what I wanted to talk about, these ones which are personally like the most precious for me, are the simplest Believers, because some of them, they have some attributes, most of them, but I've also done a series with no attributes, and they have just simple face expressions, and for me these are the most valuable ones. But it's
correct. Yeah.
no.
Yeah, the ones that actually that you get it. I'm actually I like NFTs. I've been on Sui specific. I've been getting into NFTs, and there's a lot of traits that people can actually recognize in themselves in some capacity, right? So people like some of the traits that the NFTs have, and they are gonna just acquire those traits. And I actually have done this. There's some traits in some NFT projects that are like, okay, I want to get an NFT that has this trait. So I guess there are some traits in this in the collection that will kind of align with certain people, and people want to specifically get those traits. So I think that's very good to know as well. Okay, I want to go back a little bit to Shiva as well, to the BTCFi Believers mission, because one question that we have been getting, which is what does it mean to be a believer, essentially?
Right. So yeah, we would like to say, the Believers is not just an NFT project, right? It is a movement, and a mindshare shift is what we are trying to do, and it is not just possible with native, right? It is a collective effort among many of the projects building around Bitcoin, and we want to have the representation of that movement through this NFT, manifesting that movement through this. So what believer could be anyone who believes that Bitcoin can be used, and Bitcoin kind of powers this whole financial system, and they can express their this viewpoint with various things, right? It could be advocating for this. It could be making a couple of their friends believing the same thing. Marta was not a believer before, but now as she learns about through this process, now she is a believer, right? But yeah, it could be anything. Someone creating art with their this belief around this. Someone creating articles, spaces. Anyone can participate and spread this story. Generally, through human evolution, stories what changed throughout the history we have seen. Some stories take longer time, some stories take its time, but it eventually is stories what moves and takes the humanity to forward, right? So we also believe this whole moment will also shift that mind share and add more people into this program.
Yeah, and I guess one thing that I want to touch on as well is like, what essentially what perks do you have on this NFT? Because
Hmm.
there's obviously, you're not just minting for the art, you're minting because first you're a BTCFi believer, you like this, it's something that interests you, and you care about Bitcoin, and you care about this, and even native itself, right? So in terms of the perks, you're actually getting getting a centerpiece of what native is going to be building, right? You're gonna be a centerpiece of that technology that we're building. Obviously, you have access to stuff like gamified rewards, early access to products that we have, testnet. Even you could do some testnet early access. But in general, I think the idea of the NFTs, that you have kind of the priority. You'll have the priority of what we're building at native. So
Yeah.
everything that we do in the future, this NFT holders will be the priority. So this overall mission that we're doing actually has some utility behind it. It's not just obviously it's not just NFT, but the mission itself has some utility that we're trying to bring to the overall ecosystem. So we think this is in general really important, and we're trying to strive with this campaign, with this narrative that we're building a much more bigger thing in general. Shiva, on that note, do you have anything to add there?
Yeah, I mean, we cannot obviously can give away everything
For sure.
that's going to happen with the NFT, but just to highlight few things, yes, as you mentioned, the believers and these NFT holders has the front row seat in like what we are building and what's our vision, right? That is means early access to our features, airdrop, a native airdrop tokens and boosted yields in our Bitcoin yield hub, and also yeah, I mean there is also an opportunity to get a physical art. I'm sure we will talk about it in a second, but if you're a believer and you want to get a physical art from our artist Marta, and you have that access as well. So yeah, that those are very few things that we could reveal for now.
Yeah, I mean, just like you mentioned, let's talk a little bit about that physical art option. So, Marta, I'd love to hear a little bit more about the physical art option, like the acrylic paintings on canvas. Maybe you want to talk about this more. But how did this idea came about, and what's the vision behind it?
So we wanted to offer something special, and as this is a painting, like physical painting on canvas, like acrylic or oil or something else. It's the most classical value. It's been through history and everything. It's something the most, I don't know how to describe.
Cherished,
It's
valuable, yeah.
it's a classical value, and we want to offer that option. And by the way, this is something that I have a bit bigger experience about, because I've been painting a lot, I've been organizing exhibitions. So I thought, okay, maybe we would offer that, and this could be something like really customized. So if someone decided to order a painting, it can be fully customized. And in terms of lines, textures, not only the believer itself, but it's like it can be like more artistic than just computer design.
Yeah,
So
and I
yeah.
think it makes sense as well. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Shiva.
No, I can testify that, but because as I said, I have an art that created by Marta. But yeah, it is quite unique, right? We also want to bring the best of like we have access to Marta, and she is amazing artist and she has this experience. We thought like, oh, why not we also offer very limited exclusive physical art as well. So that was the idea behind it.
Yeah, and I guess, Marta, are you ready to design or draw in this case, or how do you say it? Paint, I guess. Are you ready to paint 6,000 NFTs?
Oh, maybe that's why this is a very exclusive option.
Okay, okay, okay.
I'm not sure. I know you're joking, but just to make it clear for everyone, it is going to be super exclusive. Only 21 max. We will be
Yeah.
Martha will be doing it.
Now everyone will want one, and we have to draw more and pay more. That's kidding. Yeah, I think yeah. Any other consideration, Shiva, that you want to do on the acrylic painting?
On the painting,
Yeah.
I wish I can get one, but
Well,
but
you have to have the mythic, right?
I will try to get one for sure. But no, I'm really looking forward. I think, especially on the painting side, it's uh, one of its kind, right? Not, I mean, you're mentioning, there are few projects that they do this, but now you don't need to go to some event or something, right? You can buy Believer, the NFT, um, sitting anywhere. You can order, and it gets delivered for a for a fee. So I think that's quite unique. Not I think not many projects has done it, and yeah, we want to give that option for some of our believers.
I guess on topic of how you can use the NFT, right? Because you can get obviously there will be this exclusive acrylic, but also how do you expect people to use the NFT? Do you expect it to use as a PFP? Do you expect it to have some kind of way that people can display that NFT?
Um, I think it would be a combination of a few things. We would love to see it as a PFP as well. So it is a good mix of PFP plus utility, right? It is an expression that you can. I mean, it is a form of expression that you can use to say that you believe in what we are building. You believe in Bitcoin. You believe in this movement, and you can express this through various forms, including PFP.
Okay, nice. And I guess one question similar to that to Marta is because for someone that hasn't been so much into Web3, you normally all the Web3 communities have big design aspects, right? So we for this NFT specifically, we had to be doing something. And how does that creative process that you did? How did that impact, right? Because you are building, you are designing something for a big community. Did that impact somewhat?
So what can by design talk through this project? For me, it's mostly that simplicity that can unite the community. Some symbol that kind of represents that bee, which is at the same time like very synthesized form, which can be represented in different graphics, like that he pops up and he appears and is something like on the one hand very simple and very emotional, because it has that different emotions, so it interaction in this graphic is important. So that was the expressions that I think we wanted to show.
Yeah. Yeah, if I can add, basically, yes, we took some inspiration from other project. I mean, Marta took some inspiration. I was sharing some of my other ideas and stuff. But end of the day, we also want to make sure we come up with something unique and not, oh, we now we have the pressure of like making a big community happy, or we need to follow something, right? It has to come from what we believe is the right thing, and I think Martha managed to do that. Good job.
Nice, nice. Okay. Do we, Shiva, any final questions, considerations, anything you guys want to mention before we wrap up?
No, I mean, big thanks to Martha. I think from the time she entered this project, and it took to the next level. I'm really looking forward for these things to get in hands, or rather wallets of the community. I guess we will talk about this auction mechanism and another unique thing that we wanted to. One of the first few things that we want to do for Sui community, but that is a discussion for another day. But otherwise, really looking forward for this in the next coming weeks.
Yeah, and Marta, if you have any final considerations, feel free. But I guess a final question to you is looking like ahead of the intersection of art, design with Web3. Where did you see your creative journey heading in this space?
I don't know yet. but I explored it. I really liked it. So thank you so much, guys, for letting me participate in it, because I think it's something amazing that you're doing. And I discovered it, and how I said, you managed to convince me about it, which I think is great. And I want to continue, of course. So thank
So
you.
hopefully more stuff coming soon from Marta to the Web3 communities.
Thank you.
I guess how should people connect with you, Marta?
At the best, per email, which is on my website. And yeah, you can find my website, which I gave to you,
Yeah.
which is Marta.
We'll share.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. We'll share the website. We'll probably have some pop-ups and in some way to get in touch with Marta, even on our website or maybe on the Believers page. Let's see. But yeah, I guess thank you everyone for everyone for listening. Thank you, Shiva. Thank you, Marta. We're very excited about this whole journey that we have on the NFT part and also on the BTCFi Believers kind of activation that we're doing. So we're very excited to put that out there to everyone to see. And I guess you should expect a lot more stuff coming up in the next couple of weeks. So yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Shiva. Thank you, Marta. Have a nice day.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thank you, Marta. Bye bye.